It's Friday, you bastards.
Well, hello, boys and girls.
I'm in
what a
the
wonderful day it is
shed.
today in our money-based economy.
Getting hit.
Sit back and relax and get ready for the guy who's about to ruin everything.
I'm puzzled. Are you really seriously suggesting that Jesus Christ was a mushroom?
Wayne,
To quote Walter
Jesus
White,
was a
goddamn
mushroom
right.
Roberts.
Yes. You are dealing with a secret cult.
Yep.
A secret society.
Welcome to Waning Interest.
Welcome to the Waiting Interest Podcast. Hour number 66. It's Wednesday/Friday. It's the one I wanted to do Wednesday, but I woke up so angry I couldn't shit. So I decided to put it off a little bit and wait to get a little more angry and then do something. But hopefully at this point be a little funny with that afterthought. So it's sort of a unlocked Wednesday/Friday because that's when it is. March 28th, 2020. Whew. Gotta breathe. Let's make a little move into real quick. Michelle Obama, she wrote a book about not having a job. I gotta read that fucking book. Chapter 1, How to Know If a Dick Tastes Presidential. Now we'll go with this one. I failed out of cosmetology school, so thought I'd take a crack at this. Yeah, true story. Aced the first semester, bombed horribly in the second. It was then that I realized everyone's right. I am fucking bipolar, man. I know what you're thinking. Cosmetology school. Is he gay? Of course not. Like I said, I fucking failed. One of those was Bill Burr from his latest special, Paper Tiger. The second one was mine. A little too wordy, I know. It's like I threw it. Normally the Unlocked Wednesday has one of my first, like from my first couple of notebooks as a joke from that. That's what that was. A little bit rewritten to where I chopped some of the words off, moved some things around so it was funnier than the first, 36 times I said it. Finally. But that's what writing is. It's rewriting. But that's still a little wordy. And I'm a little buzzed at the moment. And so that's my excuse. If somebody walked by me right now and said, "Hi, Wayne," I'd say, "Yes, I am. This is HIGH Radio." Wouldn't you? I would hope so. It's Friday. /Wednesday, like I said. Smallest click on the internet. That's what you're listening to. If you're listening to it for the first time, most likely at this moment, we're a little bit bigger than the smallest click on the internet, but I will always want to be known as the smallest click. Well, I just want to grow to medium because right in the middle is where I always want to hit anyway. You don't want too big, you don't want too little, you want in the middle, right? And that's how I at 48 years old at this point, that's how I think I think I am. I believe I perceive myself to be right in the middle of everything, especially the wank thing. 7. Anyway, that's the middle. Because the average is like, 5 something? And then, like 1 in every fucking 100,000 or whatever has something that's past 9 or near 9. So, like I said, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. I like to be the meat of the sandwich. I'm all meat. Stop talking like your dad. Anyway, I'm the pinball brain in your favorite machine. I saw a moth. That's just because I'm in the shed. Like I said, I'm in the shed. I'm not really getting head. But I'm in the shed because I realized, hey, what a cool spot here in the It's the other Florida Room. If you listen to hour 65, that was recorded in the Florida Room of the Florida Room, which I wasn't supposed to say Florida. I was just supposed to say Gator the whole fucking time, but I fucked up. Didn't want to bleep it, so yeah, it's Florida Room. And what I noticed talking to some people, noticed some friends of mine didn't know what a Florida Room was. That have never lived in Florida. It's so I realized, hey, maybe there's some whips out there that don't know what the fuck a Florida Room is. So Florida Room, today's DIY moment is it's like the patio, but closed in, sort of like with more like trailer walls rather than real walls. Woo, I kicked the washing machine. Oh, and by the way, tonight's episode is brought to you by Kimura Coffee Liqueur. Not bad. It's like chocolate milk. Fucking love it. Chocolate milk with a buzz. Is it? Yeah, it's a bullshit milk that I normally don't drink. It's a little splash in coffee, but I'm not a milk drinker. But with this, and the cool thing is, because of what's going on, and like I believe I said earlier that I woke up one morning so angry I couldn't shit. Well, I know this is going to help me from that bit of milk. I'll be clean tomorrow, man. Won't even need a, as they call it, a douche. One of my favorite fucking quotes in a movie. Revenge of the Nerds. When Booger is by himself in front of the frat house, the Lambdas, and he's watering the lawn, smoking a cigarette. And Ted McGinley pulls up on his scooter with the blonde, I can't remember her name, but the one that ends up banging Robert Carradine. And they stare at the house. And then McGinley, right before they pull away, he says, "What are you looking at, nerd?" And he pulls away, and then they cut the Booger. And he says, "I thought I was looking at my mother's old douchebag, but that's in Ohio." Now, most people, like myself for the longest time, only thought that was funny just because we know the word douchebag means putz, jerk off, dickhead, prick, asshole, whatever. And it fit, and that's funny. But what a lot of people don't realize, especially you youngsters, is a douchebag, if you know those weird red, like off red, rubbery bags, if your grandparents might have one or whatever, you ever seen one in the house, and it's a water bag. It looks like a lot of people fill it up with hot water and use it as like a heating pad. Well, usually that thing has a little tube that comes out of it. You fill it up with the warm water, and women could use that, or certain men use that to hose out one or both holes with lukewarm water to douche. So that red thing hanging over the shower rack is the bag. And it's red and over a shoulder thing. And in the thing, Ted McGinley, it finally dawns on me that he's wearing his red sweater over his shoulder and then tied in the front like a preppy douche, cock, sucking prick, fucking twat. Excuse my high school. And God, doesn't that make it funnier? Oh, shit. Sorry. Happy Friday. My God. You know, when you've been laughing at a fucking joke for years, 50 times at least, and every time it hits you, and then all of a sudden 55, and it hits you in a whole new depth, and you go, oh my God. And it's still funny, but it's also even funnier because you're such a douchebag for not realizing those other 54 times. Y'all know what I'm saying. That's why you a whip. So anyway, I'm in the shed on the other side of the Florida room, where the washer and dryer is, and it was a carport, but part of it, half of it is closed in, and the washer and dryer in here, and 3, 4 shelving units, 2 on each side. Used to be 3 in 1, but I cleaned this motherfucking shit up quite a bit. Tidied it up like a motherfucker when I first moved here. And split it to where it's 2 and 2, and much more organized like an OCD douche. That's the guy who lives next door. And then, is my ride here? You know, when it does start getting closer, you make that joke, and then the sound gets closer. You start to get paranoid, especially on a cookie. You can get farther now, please. Okay, I think we're safe. Anyway, so we're in the shed, and I cleaned that room, and that's some of the stuff I left out of Hour 65 was the stuff that I've done to this house since I've been here. I've done, brought to you by Kimura, Coffee Liqueur. I've done this in the shed where I've, tidied it up and went and got the right tools for certain deals. Now there's a step. There's a step in here on the concrete to where it's not like a full normal step. It's like a half one, but it goes up into the more concrete. But it's hard to see because it was all gray to begin with. So I taped out a nice little line on the front, and then on the lip on the top, so you can see that it's a step now, so nobody trips. Even though I want them to trip, but in another way. But you know that, because you're a whip. What else do we do? Oh, like right here to my left, if I'm facing out, I'm facing towards the door to go out to the carport where there's no longer a wall. To my left is now it's a different looking wall because it used to be a window, and we took the window out and we made on the other side now it's a nice little 3-shelf bookcase, but not very deep, in the living room. Very cool. That's my favorite thing that's been done. Storm door, replace the storm door. Unfortunately, the ladies went and got a door that they thought was mostly together, and you just had to put it up on the hinges and shit and put that together. No. Thought it was going to be a 90-minute job turned into almost 6 because we had to drill our own holes for the fucking handles and for all the hinges and the slide part. It was insane. But the beauty is because my ma's like, you know the phrase bull in a china shop? That's her. Doors slam behind her, even though you can adjust it a little bit so it closes a little slower. Or just slamming a door and like, what the fuck? No need to slam it. Or the big one is in a hollow floor in the morning, and she walks on her heels. So it's tung, 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 tung on a hollowish floor. You don't need no goddamn alarm clock when you're 14, 15. That shit wakes you up. I know. No offense, Ma, but Jesus Christ. She's been told, she knows. She's been told to, hey, pay attention. It's part of, making yourself a better person. Self-awareness. But it's like what Jimmy Dore says. It's like we're fighting through a generation of children of alcoholics. The person that gets in trouble is the person that points out the actual problem. That's me. Been doing it for a long time. Anyway, not that I haven't been the problem here and there. That's faux show. So, don't anybody hear it the other way, like I'm patting myself on the dick. Did I tell you it was 7? Whatever, it's bigger. So, what's next? I feel like I was babbling on a bit, but let's see what was. Got to go through the notes. Oh, Wednesday radio story. Already did the joke. Started right through it, changing up, because normally on Wednesday that happens in the second half hour. Or in the second 15 minutes if I do a 30, which is rare. And you would know that if you're a whip. Did I tell you about the Patreon page? Patreon, what the hell is it anyway? What the hell is it? It's what? Patreon.com/waning interest. That's it. Less than $2 a month. You could be a whip and get one of the Monday or Fridays, which are Patreon only, usually, but this is BOFA. Wednesday/Friday, but you knew that, and I'm repeating it like I must have been in radio or something, right? Yep, see? All about my people's power. And one of the other reasons I think I deserve a little Patreon-age, not only to hear more of my babbling ass if you enjoy it, which obviously you do if you're listening right now, and there's no ads here. You're never going to hear an ad on the Waning Interest podcast except for me hailing something that I dig. Like Issues with Andy podcast. I'll tell you to listen to other things, watch other things. Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp, Redacted Tonight. Kim Iverson, The Hill with fucking Crystal Ball, Crystal with a K. And the weird part about that for me is I'm listening to that. Crystal Ball, those that know one of my exes know that if they watch Crystal Ball, they'll be like, holy shit, I didn't know your ex had a twin. Almost complete look-alike and sound-alike. It's insane. Except for their message. Anyway, that's a different thing. Ain't gonna get into that. Everybody's cool. 'Cause I'm thinking about Mushy being with you. What? Excuse me. Thank you, Kimura. But when it comes to my Facebook page, because I know people see it, but I also know there's a lot of people that don't follow me because of the way I post things, because they don't get the humor in it. Or sometimes they are angry and they don't like that, or they don't agree, or they don't like the Jesus was mushroom. What? If you've never heard that before, you'll hear that a bit if you get deeper into the Waning Interest podcast and become a whip, part of the Waning Interest podcast pack. It's a shout out. I'll shout out to the whips all hour long, as I shout out to other people, like I was saying. What was I saying? Oh, you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts. You might have found it on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. Hit the subscribe on YouTube if you're a YouTuber. I don't hit you too often like a lot of YouTube stuff does. It's only going to be one a week usually. Besides this one, it's usually only the Unlocked Wednesday. So I don't bug you too much, because the other stuff is on Patreon. Where were we? Laughable, Spotify, I already said that, Google Play, or, you're a whip and you're right there at the Patreon page. But what was I saying? I know I did forget something. I was on track, but maybe I'll think. Maybe it'll come back to me as I go along. Oh, I did want to tell you this. One of the things I also forgot to tell you about. Oh, the house. I was talking about the house. Let's get to the house right now. I'll come back to why I had to change my Twitter, because I forgot to tell you that in hour 65. Oh, so we put that shelf in instead of that window. Let's see if it's the Golden Girls, and you want to think of it as, B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, and Betty White. I'm obviously Estelle Getty. It's just a smart-ass son instead of mom. But I would say out of the three ladies, it's hard to put, and my mom would definitely be Blanche, but with a Northeast accent instead of Southern. Now, the other, I know that's funny. I know you're laughing. I know you have to be laughing at that no matter how it came out. Because it's true. But I don't know who, when it comes to the Canna lady and we'll call her the doobie lady, even though she doesn't do the weed. But we'll call her doobie just for fun. The doobie and the Canna. And the ma. Ma's Blanche. The doobie and the Canna. I don't know which would be which. They both kind of fit, because they both have really good lines. And they're both pretty smart in some things. And they're both kind of what in some. And Rose and Dorothy were more opposite. Well, these were two even. So split the difference. That's what we'll say. That's a pretty nice way to say it, huh? Fuck yeah. That's a good son. Mm-hmm. So there you have your description. So, then we did the window into shelf, and then I painted the entire living room, and I cut it with they have the corner. I may have mentioned this in the last hour, where they have the corners that are, fuck. I don't know, I can't think of it. Oh, thank you, Kamara. The edges. Covering corners with, the baseboard type. It's on. I can't say it. I'm so fucked up, mommy. Just kidding. They had painted those last time, and they were the same color as the walls. Well, I cut them all into white, so there's like an outline with all of the crown molding. So I did that in the kitchen, and I painted both bedrooms, and did the same thing in the bedrooms. So it's cut on all the corners, along with the door frames, of course, and the closet door frames. Let's see, major recaulking job in both tubs, showers. Oof. Brand new looking shit. Man, I was so proud of myself. Even though there was a couple of spots, because that fucking silicone caulking, man, that shit sucks working with it, man. It's not the same as the regular caulking when you're just doing baseboards and door jambs. And crown molding. And the bathroom shit, man, it's a little more difficult to work with. You really gotta use just a little bit less, because that stuff, it starts to sag. If you get a little too much, it sags more than the normal caulking. Talking about a caulking on a Friday night. I don't like it when the thing sort of goes half to sleep. So I like to make sure that me garage band is a-running. What else do we do? I got rid of some stuff to the garbage. New mattresses in both bedrooms, and took the other mattresses to the junkyard. And I do the trash recycles. I do that once or twice a week. Go get the water. I think I said about the water. I always do the dishes, so these motherfucking hands are clean. They're always covered in Dawn. Dawn is the shit. So through this virus hysteridemic, my hands are almost always clean, and I don't leave the place. I've been a shut-in anyway, so this quarantine shit, it's, as I've said, as you know, if you're a whip, you know, I've been this way basically since 2005, for the most part, except for going out to do stand-up or work, and that was basically it, or with my kid. Unless if I was with my kid, we'd go out. Universal Studios, go get ice cream, all kinds of different shit. Movies, you know, all kinds of different things I do with my kid. The park a lot. All her school things after, you know. Other than that, I was home. When I quit drinking in 2005. But anyway, where were we? House. What else have I done? Oh, some friends of theirs got new backyard furniture. So they gave us their very nice old shit. So went and got that, all that stuff, and that's out back, right out back of the Florida room. What else? Oh, did I tell you to do dishes? What else? There's some other things that I've forgotten. There's some other things I've forgotten. In my head, it was supposed to be like Conway Twitty, but it came out like Faith Hill. What else? I cleaned this stuff up. I tidied this shit up. Not quite like a Sheldon Cooper, but more like, maybe like Howard. Half, and, you know, there's toys to play with. Hey, there's a little slam dunk for you wonderful Big Bang Theory fans. I think that jumped the shark around the 5th season. There were still good moments and stuff, but notice the acting changes a little bit. Season 5 on. You can tell the phoning in. Don't say anything about the writing. Some of the writing's a little weak, but yeah, first 5 season, boom, 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 crush jobs. Last 5, no. Didn't think I was going to enjoy Young Sheldon, but I do. That's pretty good. And that's pretty cool that the mom is actually Laurie Metcalf's mom. That's our main daughter. Sorry. You know what I'm saying. Right? Right. Okay. Hey. By the way, you notice I'm not talking to myself as much if you're a whip. If you're new, you might not know what I'm saying. But I would normally be telling myself to shut the fuck up or move on a lot more often, as whips would know. And somebody listened, well, not just somebody, somebody's listened 2 hours 65, and they said, hey, it's funny, but, you know, lighten up on yourself. And I didn't actually mean to, because my initial reaction was, fuck you! Don't tell me how to do my podcast, bitch. But evidently, it sunk in so much just from all those fuck yous that I turned around and used the reverse psychology, and hey, haven't really done it that much. I have cut way back. I think, anyway. I'm trying to remember back, even though I'm also trying to stay on target. Stay on target. Like, Red One? Was it Red One? Gold Leader? Stay on target. It was a Star Wars reference and I blew it. Sorry, Star Wars fans. I hate motherfucker. Coolest part about Star Wars now for me is to watch. Now my favorite to watch is The Force Awakens, only because Harrison Ford reminds me of my dad in that movie. All this it's insane. If you knew my dad, you'd be like, holy shit. Hail to my daddy, hail daddy-o. Braves on the warpath, fight for old DC. See, what I did there was me and my dad are Redskins fans. I put the first half of the song, or that verse, or of the chorus, or the chorus of the verse, or the half of the chorus, or whatever the fuck. I dedicated half of it to him and brought it back to the Redskins in honor of him too. Fuck yeah. Who are you, a rapper? What do you think? That was a pretty hellified 30 minutes so far. I think so. I can't believe I got through that much, and I'm still going, hey, this is going pretty well. Keep going. Because normally, if that doesn't happen, I go, what the fuck am I doing? I go, stop. You ain't in the mood, son. So, of course, with Kimura being tonight, and as you know, if you listen to 65, that was my first time on Vodka. Vox. Shout out to my agent. Kind of. Where was I? I don't fucking know, man. Oh, bring it back to Twitter. I forgot to tell you. In hour 65, since I did hour 64, it was a long break. If you're new, there's a few month break. I just explained it with fixing up this house. That's what I've been doing and not recording and just chilling the hell out for a few months. But in that time, my Twitter used to be Wayne Roberts 811. Well, it's still there, I guess, but I don't have access to it. I no longer have access to my Twitter account since last October, not too long after I have recorded hour 64. And now that reminds me, I have to look up and read to you why. What is it? What did I put it under? They took my Wayne Roberts 811 access away because I tweeted to what's her name? Let's just say, without using names, the actress who I believe won an Oscar for Walk the Line, because she tweeted in defense of a comedian with a TV show that's on in the afternoons that's syndicated, who is short blonde hair, who was dancing with George Bush, the president from 2000 to 2007 or 99 to 2000, however you want to call it. Those 8 years of the same bullshit, but not as hardcore as they are today. Thanks to today. Hopefully I get to that part. What did I call today? 3/27/28. Friday. 3/27/3/28. I'm sorry, 3/27/20. The day of a true lubeless ass fucking rape of far too many. Happy Friday. Anyway, I tweeted to that one actress because she defended that one comedian about getting trashed on Twitter and other social media for partying it up with Bush. And what did I say to her? And I'm trying to remember her name while I'm typing, and I need to breathe. I've done such a good job of trying not to say her name to make it more fun and stay out of trouble, that I've forgotten what her friggin' name is while I tried to search for it so I can read it to you. Where is it? Oh, I think I found it. So, where is it? Is it here? Where it be, man? There it is. They put me in Twitter jail for saying thank you for letting us know you're just as much of a, in capital letters, see you next Tuesday. Wait. Most of us already knew. Oops. Sorry. And go fuck yourself. Hashtag whore. Now, if you could have paused to figure out who the hell I'm talking about, of course. If you didn't already know, which I expect you to know. Otherwise, you really did find this podcast by accident. Now, Wayne, why would you say that? Why would I say that? As weird as it sounds, the proof is actually out there that the certain comedian is at such a level, excuse me, that she is basically an asset for a 3-letter ring. As conspiracy theorists, it sounds. But that's just the answer to the question. And so is the other person. And they will defend each other. They are a part. It's the, the George Carlin. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Well, they're like in the middle of the pyramid. So, just to be able to stay in their spot, with either just to stay there and be cool, or with the ambition to move up farther, they want status quo. They don't really want change, even though they're people that on their shows will give shit away to the whole crowd, which is usually small, and some of them are paid audiences. But everybody can know the real Reese's peanut butter cup if they look on YouTube or just have a memory of a decade ago or so. That's the real person. Yeah, some people change. Yeah, maybe there was a buzz going on and whatever, but no. Let's just say I lived in Nashville for a bit. So I've heard more stories than the average possum. But where was I? What was the point of that? What was the point? Oh, that's why my new Twitter handle is Interest Waning, @InterestWaning. There's your Twitter story. Oh, there's this other part of the story where I was so angry when it first went down that when they first emailed me to with the warning, to just take the tweet down and everything will be cool, I couldn't help but reply with "fuck off" in all caps. So, I have no problem taking part of the blame for being shut down because of that response. I do not take any blame for the original tweet. That's motherfucking freedom of speech. But yes, I didn't do myself any favors. But at the same time, I was of the mind, and still am, of if I had taken the tweet down like they said, that's going against who I really am, because that's how I really feel. She's a fucking whore. That's a fact. And that's not saying it, we're all whores, yes, I get it. But she's a super whore. Reese's peanut butter cups. Psst. But yeah, that's how I got blasted on one side. That's why I don't have at the moment many followers. So hit me on the Twitters. Because I didn't put it out. It's been so many months, and I forgot to say it on 65. Okay, time for a sip. Chocolate milk is good for the soul. But Instagram, still Wayne Roberts 811. If you're new to the podcast, normally, like I said, Friday is normally a Patreon hour, and so is the Monday. And Mondays are usually with a bit of babbling, also bowling stories and acting stories, and not like, hey, I did this and this is I'm so cool. It's more of I tell funny stories what happened usually behind the scenes, or a little bit of milk, sorry. So it's not so bad. And I don't smell it thanks to the cigarette. But it's, stories of moments like what you just heard. So it's not, Wayne, what are you doing? Patting yourself on your back, telling acting stories. What do you think you're so cool? No, I doesn't. I try to be just like anybody else. And I think I dress pretty cool. But it's easy if you just keep it to fucking black and denim and grays. It's fucking easy. As long as you don't overdo it with the black on black. Like if you're wearing black jeans, half the time wear a gray t-shirt. And no logos. Know what I'm saying? And colorful shoes, fuck off. Always go black. No, I'm not going to say it. And Wednesdays are Unlocked Wednesday. And, oh, that was gross. Sorry. Wednesdays are, radio stories. And like I said earlier, which I already did earlier, shitty jokes from old notebooks, from the first couple notebooks, which has only been a few years. This is also the first. Is this the first, or did I start in the last few start smoking? I was thinking this might be the first time on a podcast I've actually smoked cigarettes, because normally I didn't smoke in my studio. Back in the, the jungle, L.A. But here in Gator Country, last week was definitely the first time I've drank. Screwdriver Wayne's, one of the whips, said, thank you. And then Fridays are usually voiceover stories. Same deal. Something funny, something silly that happened at a gig, or going for a gig, or some kind of schooling, or just whatever having to do with voiceover. And usually album of the week. And I would always go for anything with stereo. Right now, I tell you, I want to listen to Stereophonics, live, what the hell is it? Live at, I can't think of it. You'll find it if you just go live. I'm going to find it after this if I can remember. But I'm just throwing out that right now. I'm not actually going to do one, but that'll dig real quick. Usually I'll go into why, but I think I've done it before. And then also Friday Psychedelic Movie / Series. I think I mentioned in 65 about, if you're new, go check out the Nate the Bullet E.T. psychedelic story, DMT mushrooms. Check that out. I'd like to see that get more views. Nate the Bullet was my old podcast, but there's a link in 65, and if I remember, I'll put it in this one as well. But that's an example of like taking a movie and going, hey, this is the psychedelic aspect, and that one is my favorite. Besides the normal ones like Wizard of Oz, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Christmas Carol, Alice in Wonderland, The Matrix, of course. But you think about it, fucking all of the Infinity Saga. To me, I've said it before, all the stones represent all the natural psychedelics of the planet. Because, like, when I listen to people talk about doing DMT, which I've never done, which is like if you don't know, is like a 5 to 10 minute high after 3 hits of stuff that can come from anywhere, but sometimes it's known from the toad, the secretion of a certain toad, and which is one of the reasons the ET, whatever. But in the description of everybody, it almost sounds like them doing the Thor thing and going up that fucking super tight psychedelic rainbow to Asgard and then to other worlds with dark elves. It's when you doing DMT, you're picking up fucking Mjolnir or that fucking beautiful axe from Infinity War, and of course Endgame. Mushrooms are more Alice in Wonderland to me, and the come up where you can get a little squirrely. That's the tornado, and then all of a sudden when you hit the peak, woo! There's munchkins. Smurfs, Oompa Loompas, little people. For me, they're normally on my shoulder, but not scary. Not if you do it right. Set and setting, have a sitter. Set and setting, have a sitter. Even if they're on Skype. And never jump into doing a heroic dose of mushrooms unless you've done an 8th first, just to get a little test. Never jump right in. Read. Watch. Terrence McKenna. That'd be the best way to go. Or whatever you can find with Joe Rogan talking about mushrooms, or Doug Stanhope. But then sometimes Stanhope will tell you, fuck it, eat the fucking whole bag and see God. Which, whatever. He's right. But that's not the way I propose it to most people. I don't go that far. I do, but I don't. Know what I'm saying? I hope so. Thank you. Do what you want. I ain't telling you what to do. Always tell you to read up on it first. Read up on it good, and that will be good. And no, I'm not pushing you to do it, but if you do the research on what psychedelics do for depression, a different take on religion, an understanding. So you back off, and even though you're like, because you just, Jesus was a mushroom. It's just all about psychedelics. And, now I get it. It makes more sense. And yes, because when you come out of doing a really big blast of psychedelics, you go, money, fuck that shit. Give it away. Like in A Christmas Carol. Just all of a sudden, yeah, that doesn't happen without a trip. Whatever. Are we moving on? I think so. Anyway. There's your Friday Psychedelic Movie /series, a little summary for anybody who's not a whip, who's becoming a whip, and that makes it so I haven't even got into really what I wanted to talk about, for fuck's sake. Whew. Should I make this 2 hours? No. Yeah, you should, and then you can just break it up and then put them out. Like, they don't have to be the same. Whatever. Also, when I do this, I'm trying to inspire people to do their own. You talk to yourself when you can anyway. Record it. It's funny. Just try to change the names to stay out of trouble, and make sure you're telling everybody that when I tell these stories, they're fun to tell, and I'm not trying to make you look bad. I'm a douchebag too. They're funny stories, and I don't want to get in trouble, so I changed the name, and be cool about it. Because we all have to laugh. Hee-haw. Just don't tell too dark of stories. You don't want to be put on the dark web. Or maybe you do. I don't care. That's up to you. I ain't telling nobody what to do. Yes, you're still a rapper, motherfucker. But, like, right at the moment, if you're listening to this at the moment, it's the 27th, 28th, or, 25th, Wednesday. In this moment, if you're maybe someone that is catching this but only actually listens to mainstream media about the situation, the pandemic, please go listen to, just do a search for David Icke about this coronavirus and just give that a listen. Set everything else aside so you can understand what's going on a little more and understand that what they passed through, why I said what I said today on Facebook, with it being the day of a true lubeless ass fucking rape for far too many. Happy Friday. Because of the bill that was passed that basically made it to where a lot of small businesses are going to be gone, or bought up by corporations, and they're going to own more and more shit, just like they started buying up radio in the 90s, thanks to Bill Clinton signing in what he signed in, because it's all a show. This whole thing is a show. They are fearmonger millionaires or billionaires keeping the status quo and buying up more and more so they own more and more and turning us more and more into slaves. And a lot of people are falling for I'm going to get this little bit amount of money after all this shit and I'm going to lose my business. And they're selling this thing like they're good guys and there are bad guys. They're all the same, and that deal is shit. It's going all to it's another bank bailout. And that's why I'm an anarchist. What? No rulers, not no rules. And money is shit. It needs to go, especially with our tech. We are still using money because we're still in a scarcity mindset, when we all know just by looking at our phones, which is maybe how you're listening to this right now, we don't have to worry about scarcity anymore. So there's an abundance, and if there's an abundance where everything's available to everybody with so many smart ways in doing things like Mr. Spock, no more stealing, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, lot less hardcore drug use, na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, a lot less depression, a lot more community, motherfucker, I gotta remember this goddamn melody. I just made that shit up. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Woo! Time for a cigarette and a sip. I'm very happy about this 53 minutes so far. Almost 53. But when I mentioned last week, asshole. Sorry. I mentioned heading south for a bit with the Velezes and the Monteses. I left out what a cool human cave. There's a man cave, but it's called the human cave. Oh, I think I said I was gonna put up pictures and I forgot. I have to okay that and try to remember, but hopefully I'll remember with the listen back to make sure this is cool, which I think I'm gonna be okay. But you gotta see the man cave, especially contrasted with the garden and the little fire pit out back with in front of the garden with a little, it's not a picnic table, but there's wooden benches, and it's just really fucking badass. But a little farther away, there is a picnic table under some trees, and there's a whole bunch of plants that the Monteses man waters and takes care of, besides the garden. But I also forgot to mention that I did travel also to go see my friends Bart Hoffman, ladies and gentlemen, Bart Hoffman at his beautiful wife Zoo, and the Jack Verde sauce. Look it up, Jack Verde. Good sauce. I don't say that because I get any money from Jack Verde, but I say it to be a friend and say, hey, order it. It's good shit. It's carried in a few eateries that get some special because it's better than what they normally have. Hey, Bargoffman, you know, I can't remember, but I think I wanted you to send some of that shit to Doug Stanhope. You got to do that if I have forgotten to tell you. Oh, there's no way I should get... That was a beautiful hang, by the way. But that vodka fucking kicked my ass. But I was happy. And I was happy because it's been so many years. And when I was there, it hadn't been started yet, but they were going to be putting in a pool. Now the pool is there in the Bargoffman backyard, and it is so badass with the lights, and then this little beach area on the front end, and then there's going to be a little tiki bar on the other end. Dude knows what he's doing, and that gives you a little insight on how good his sauce is. Did I say Jack Verde, motherfucker? But I was going to tell the story, and I guess I'll save it for, I got to save it because there's no way I can tell it in 4 minutes. Tell the story of the trip from the northeast corner of the country down to the southeast corner in a special stop that my mom and I made to visit my half-sister that I had never met in person, that I'd only known through the phone for the last 10 years, and emails and text messages, and finally met in person on the way down. But that's a very cool, long story that I'm saving for 67, right? Because this is 66. Yes. And I thought I'd get to it, but man, have I been able to babble like a fuck rag. Normal. So I'm going to save that. That's a really cool story. There's a lot of fun elemental things. Sorry, I got to get another cigarette. And, hey, man, got to kill a couple of minutes. Neil would be proud right now. Drag that shit out. You've been bursting without a break for a whole almost 60. Neil would be proud. Oh, by the way, the front end, that first thing you heard on this hour of the podcast, that was I've decided to do the Fridays. The reason you hear that little, it's Friday, you bastards, that's a little shout out, nod to the god of radio and queen, Neil Rogers, who I got to cut my teeth with as a young Padawan, and I'm still a Padawan. I ain't a fucking Jedi. Even though I do have an award for it. But whatever, that's another story that I might have told already. So if you're not a whip, hey, you can go back. There's, 65 hours? Well, almost, because some of them are 30s. But I'm going to tell that story about my sister, and then I'll also talk about my other half-sister, who I still haven't met in person yet, and I will talk about my half-brother, who is, I still haven't met in person yet, but what a fucking badass. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that his name is actually Herb. How fucking perfect is that? Wayne's brother's name is Herb. I love it. You're chuckling. I don't blame you. I want you to. That's what it's all about. This whole hour has been all about laughs, hopefully. So I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to get to other stuff in the next hour. But I think this turned out pretty good, and didn't even get to go through Facebook. I was going to go through Facebook. I was going to talk about Better Call Saul, episode 6 of season 5, which to me was like a Breaking Bad episode without Walt and Jesse. It was so fucking good, the best one yet. I was going to tell a Neil story, but just watch Redacted tonight. Jimmy Dore, Corbett Report, Kim Iverson, Kokolinsky, Abby Martin, whatever. Look for yourself. I'm just here to be a fun babbling lecturer. Remember, we're all one. A.K.A. Neo. Sorry, ran long. Had to bump comedian Bill Burr. Thanks, Gary. Daddy loves you.